Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Press Play. I'm your host, JJ48, and tonight we're going to finish discussing Majora's Mask. We finished the gameplay last week, and then we will get started on the next Legend of Zelda game. So, to get started, I first wanted to clarify a couple things that from the end of our last stream when we got through the ending of Majora's Mask. Um, First thing was I had some questions. People I guess I didn't really explain what was going on with um, the kid with Majora's mask, and we gave away all our masks, and then he gave us the Fierce Deity mask in return. And some people were wondering, like, does that mean that you can't finish the game if you hadn't gotten all the masks? You'd just be kind of stuck there, or have to reset and do another 3 day cycle. And answer to that is actually no. It is entirely possible to beat the game with any number of masks as long as you have the ones that you need in order to progress. Um, and it's just doing that is necessary in order to actually get the Fierce Deity mask that let us be really powerful in the boss fight. And I actually took some screen caps of uh, another playthrough on YouTube. I saw that went through the dialogue where you if you don't make all the other if you don't give all your masks to the other kids and make them disappear. So let me see if I can pull that up. Okay, hopefully you can see this screenshot, um, the slides I put together. So uh, you approach the kid with Majora's mask. Will you play with me? You have only weak masks. So you'll play? Well, shall we go? Um, I watched it. That is actually the dialogue verbatim. I didn't skip any. So it's a little stilted, but I guess it's it's just like, okay, well, you only have weak masks, but sure, I'll play with you, kind of thing. Doesn't mention anything about the Fierce Deity mask. Doesn't offer it, or even say that he has it. And that's kind of the standard. That would have been kind of the standard ending. Um, like I said, what we got was because we got all 20 of the non transformation masks and gave them away. That's what gave us the special mask, which let us be really powerful. So it did make the boss fight pretty simple, even trivial to have that. But at the same time, I feel like that's kind of a rather fitting reward for you went through all the trouble to get all 20 masks, even though a lot of them were out of the way, a lot of them were hard to find or hard to achieve. Um, and weren't required at all. But so here's a reward that actually, it's just a little bit of a nicer reward than getting and finding out like, okay, here's 100 rupees or something like that. So next thing, um, next topic was from the end of the game. I did have a question that we kind of raised last week, and we didn't really come to a conclusion, and that was why wasn't Link invited to the carnival? You, we not only was he not like explicitly invited, he was apparently explicitly not invited. Tattle says, "Well, you need to go, and we've got a carnival to get to, so get out of here." Essentially, um, and on the one hand, I can kind of see that as maybe maybe this was something they'd already discussed, and like Link had to get going, and that saying it that way is Tattle's way of like, I don't like emotional goodbyes, so I'll just point out that, yep, we're going our separate ways, kind of thing, and uh, leave it at that. The problem with that is, as we saw, um, Link is actually shows up at the carnival as Mikau. You can see him. You can see him playing his guitar in the background there, just behind Lulu. And we know that's Link and not Mikau. First of all, because Mikau is dead. The apparently beating Majora's Mask didn't actually undo all the damage, and all the deaths and everything. It just put things to right that could be fixed. So presumably, Snowhead's no longer winter now. Um, the swamp isn't poisonous. Uh, it could fix some things, but things like death are you don't really undo that. And Mikau and Darmani have their spirits have already moved on. So we know that Link actually did go to the um, not only went to the carnival but performed at the carnival apparently. And so the question I had was, I have is this a case of like, did Link take offense at Tattle's dismissal, and was he like, well, fine, you're not going to invite me, I'll just go anyway. I've got an in with the band. Um, or perhaps since Tattle certainly knows about Link's Zora form and no one else really does, is it possible that this could have been like a prearranged thing with Tattle of like oh the Indigogos need their guitar player, so I need to go play. Um, but no one else knows that I'm really the person who I'm really taking over for Macau, so I need to hide the fact that that Link, the Hylian, isn't going to be there. So maybe it was like all a prearranged thing with Tattle, like, oh yeah, Link, you need to get going on your next adventure. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, so I mean, either way, it's interesting that Link is explicitly not invited, but shows up anyway. It was kind of an interesting ending. And then, so now that kind of brings us to where I actually just want to just go back and look over the series, or not the series, but the game and what it brought to the table. And I'd like to start with a couple of things that were in both of the last two Zelda games, both of the 3D ones. Um, the first, we only just noticed it last week, or I only just noticed it last week, but it was present in both games, and that's the dynamic music that makes uh, makes its appearance in both games. What I mean by that is, we're running around Hyrule Field or Termina Field, and we hear the kind of adventurous music playing, and then an enemy starts showing up, and we the music shifts to kind of be a darker, more dangerous sounding tune. And on the one hand, this actually addresses something that I think I had mentioned earlier in our series about how music in video games, it, you can't really strongly like you can't really choreograph it exactly to what's happening on screen, because music, a big function of music is timing, and you have no control over the player's timing. So during cutscenes, you can choreograph the music, but that's because a cutscene is essentially a movie anyway. So you treat it much the same way you would a movie. Uh, and so music in video games tends to be more just a general mood thing rather than relating to specific action. And in a lot of the earlier Zelda games, this was related to uh, where you were. I mean, it's still related somewhat to where you were. You even had different music in town versus out in the field versus in the dungeons. Um, but now with the dynamic music, they can make it a little bit more, not just it's not just that the field all has one music. It's that the field and a little bit of what's going on around Link. So it's still not firmly choreographed to Link's actions, but it does allow the mood to shift even in an area as kind of the general circumstances shift. Um, and so that was kind of neat. And of course, from a gameplay perspective, it also helps since the camera's in 3D following. Uh, the camera's not in 3D, but since the camera is kind of following Link, um, a lot of times you can't really see what's right behind him, and so when you hear that music, it also does help the player get a sense of like, oh, there's danger around me, even if it's not something that's on the screen at that point. Um, so then we also, in both games we had a fairy help us. Um, Navi in Ocarina of Time and Tattle in this one in Majora's Mask. And I thought this was interesting that both of them. I mean, they're both characters within their respective games. They have a purpose in that sense, but uh, they also serve a purpose of fulfilling game mechanics, or kind of an in-game explanation of the game mechanics. And what I mean by that is, like in this scene, um, Link is targeting the Lizalfos, and so Tattle goes and hovers around it, turns yellow, and then we get the yellow pointers pointing at him, um, showing that he's been targeted. That's a necessary game mechanic of Link being able to target the enemies. And they could have done that just with the yellow pointers there, without the fairy being involved. And it would have just been like, okay, well, this is just a game mechanic. It doesn't really make sense, but yeah, we'll just run with it. Um, but they had the fairy get involved to kind of try to add a little bit of an in-game explanation of like why Link is able to target stuff. So it's not just the player needs this. It's Link the character is actually uh, targeting the enemies somehow, within the Zelda universe. And I find it particularly interesting that this is kind of an inverse of a lot of the other stuff we see on the UI here. Um, and I'm sorry, I'm looking over to the right. I realize my webcam picture is actually to the image is actually to the left of my webcam picture, but to me the monitor is to the right. So sorry if I'm looking in the wrong direction. Um, but this is kind of an inverse of what's going on with the UI, where like with the heart containers and whatnot, that's Link the character has a certain amount of health and stamina and overall well-being, and the heart containers just kind of uh, taking Link's in-universe health and making that in a way that makes sense to us, the player, outside of the Zelda universe. The Link himself does not actually presumably see his heart containers or anything. I mean, he picks up pieces of heart and heart containers, but he doesn't. I'm assuming he doesn't actually like see a bar of hearts that show how healthy he is. That's for us, the player. And so the Navi Tattle thing is kind of an inverse of that, in that here's a game mechanic that's needed for the player, but let's give a way that in universe it makes sense as well, and is not just a pure game mechanic. So, and I also got to thinking a little bit about why. I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again. Personally, I felt that Tattle was far less irritating than Navi. Um, and I think there's a couple reasons for that. One of the reasons I think is um, she has more attitude and more personality, which on the one hand, if they went too extreme with that, could kind of rub the wrong way. But I think it does make her a little bit more interesting and less. Uh, and being more interesting means even if she's rude or obnoxious, like she's not as irritating in that way. Also, I didn't even really notice this until I saw some people saw some posts online, and I was like, oh yeah, that is true. And that is when Tattle wanted to get our attention, she kind of did a little ringing bell thing, um, or just changed color or whatnot. She didn't. Whereas Navi would go, hey, listen," or what was the other thing she said? I forget what her other thing was, but like she actually like was constantly saying, hey, listen," and that just got irritating after a while. The ringing bell I think was much easier to ignore if I didn't want to hear what she had to say, or if I already knew what she was going to say. And also in some ways uh, it could make it seem like this is just her reacting to something, not that she herself is constantly pestering us that we need to hear about it. Um, so then Let's see. Oh yeah. Next, I wanted to discuss. I not the most pleasant conversation, but I wanted to look at the great fairies. And so these are the great fairies from previous games. Um, in Zelda 1, we just kind of had the same as the regular fairy. It was just this fairy was sitting in a pond, instead of just roaming around the map. I don't know if they ever actually said that that was a great fairy, but she kind of filled the same purpose, a fairy in a fountain, who will help Link out when he comes and visits her. So I'm going to say that that was a great fairy. A Link to the Past in the middle, we had the Great Fairies seeming taking more of like a Tinkerbellish looking design. Um, much larger. If I recall, they were larger even than Link. But it's like okay, still kind of a traditional fairy look, or traditional 20th century fairy look, I should say. And similar with the fairy in the lower right for Link's Awakening, which different hairdo, different dress, but I mean it's still large uh, winged magical creature with antenna apparently. So uh, that brings us to the fairies of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and don't worry, I'm not actually going to force you to look at a picture of those great fairies. Instead, while I'm talking about them, you can enjoy this picture of two regular sized fairies, Tattle and Tail, just having fun with their friend Skull Kid. But in discussing the great fairies, I can almost see what they were going for there. You you have like the vine outfit thing that I guess is supposed to be, because they're like nature spirits. Um, their laughter and even kind of their flirtiness a little bit. Uh, I guess at least seeming flirtiness. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but like it I guess that's supposed to be like they're playful. The picking up on elements of that. Uh, but the laughter, especially as they were leaving, like it sounded more like a shriek than a laughter. Like there was almost a sinister note to it, and the flirtiness or that kind of playfulness didn't really work out so much. I mean, it was just odd in general and kind of creepy in general, and even more so in Majora's Mask, where Link is always a kid. And overall, I think a lot of those things are kind of off-putting, and then there's not really we're not seeing many of like the elements associated with the other fairies. Like I think especially the fairies in A Link to the Past, they just seem like they were more. I mean, they seem more dignified, more powerful. I don't know if having the little bug antenna things maybe helped make them seem more magical in some way. I mean, the great fairies in this game certainly did help us out. They gave us some very useful abilities and stuff, and they were clearly magical. But there's just something about them that didn't sit right. Uh, Similar, like it didn't sit the same way as the other magic fairies that have helped us out, and it's just their whole design was just very off-putting. And I think I think I'm not the only one who believes that or feels that way because I've seen other posts like that, and I don't think that Nintendo has ever actually used that particular style of Great Fairy again in any of the games unless it was like an Easter egg like reference back to these games. Um, so I think if I recall, in Hyrule Warriors, maybe uh, there's one of these great fairies or something because they're pulling from all these different sources from a bunch of different Zelda games. Um, but yeah, the change, the fact that they completely changed the style for many of the future great fairies, um, maybe they did that just to fit the style of the other games, but it's also possible that they are like, this just didn't work for us, or this didn't work for the players. Okay, so um, now on to some of the stuff that's more specific to Majora's Mask. Uh, First of all, the probably the most obvious uh, and certainly one of the most um, persistently present elements of Majora's Mask is the moon and the 3-day timer. Anytime you look up where there's clear sky, I'm pretty sure even from like the four areas outside of Turbina Field, like you can see the moon. Um, your timer is pretty much always on the screen. You're constantly being reminded that there is a danger. This is when it's coming. This is how much time you have left. Which I think does that really adds to the feel of the game that I'm on a I'm on a time limit here. I can't just dawdle. Um, that is helped somewhat by the fact that we have our Ocarina of Time that can reset those 3 days. So it's not like we have to beat the whole game, before our days are up. Um, but even then, it still it still just kind of puts this little bit of pressure on you. And I think that was a pretty good balance that they struck between having 3 days, the 3-day time limit, but then also having the reset button to release the pressure just a little bit. Uh, the the overall feeling is helped by the fact that I believe as the days progress, the moon gets larger in the sky. I think we looked up and saw that a few times, on day 2 and day 3, and certainly we noticed that the music, especially on day 3, plays faster. So you have this real sense of I need to hurry up and either uh, fix things or go back in time to buy myself a bit more, 3 more days. The scheduled events, um, or the people keeping their schedules, that the postman's always delivering the letter to Anju on the afternoon of the first day. Um, the the alien ghost things attacking Romani Ranch, on the evening or at night first day, like all these things that happen at specific times helps to kind of reiterate and hammer home that these are the same 3 days. It's not just that you're playing for 100 days because you keep resetting, and it still feels like it helps the reset feel like a reset rather than just a continuation of 3 more days, 3 more days, 3 more days. So that in a sense I think actually kind of helps having the schedule there as well. Um, we also saw that at the same time while things are scheduled, Link can affect that schedule and interact. He can change outcomes. Saving the bomb lady on the first night, or not really saving the bomb lady. She's gets mugged and she's okay regardless, but saving the package that she was bringing, the bomb bag that she wanted to sell. So I mean, whether we do that or not, the game still progresses, but things are affected by that. Whether they have the bomb bag available to sell or not is affected by that. What whether Sakon comes to the was it Curiosity Shop to try to sell the bomb bag himself, leading to Cafe going after him. That's all affected by what we do on the first night with the attempted bomb theft or bomb bag theft. Similarly, we saw rescuing um, rescuing Romani and the cows on the first night not only leads to Romani actually being, not being in a some weird troubled state for the next couple days, it also leads to the cows not being stolen, which allows Cremia to go into town and sell the milk. So all of this kind of leads to it's kind of an odd storytelling in these games because you're affecting these events, you're doing these events, but then you're resetting them. So did what you did actually take place or not? Um, some events we know still took place because, for instance, after we after we put Darmani and Mikau's souls to rest, we still had their mask. Even going back in time, we still had the mask. After we'd get an item like pick up the bow or the hook shot, we still had it the next time around. And so in a sense, some of the things we did were permanent like that, but then some things such as rescuing Romani Ranch or the bomb lady, like those were not permanent changes. Those kept happening again and again, and singing the Goron lullaby to Darmani's son, brother. No, it wasn't son because the older one I think was their dad. So either brother or just his hero, big brother figure that he looked up to. That apparently didn't happen the next time. So the whole the whole kind of sequence of events just gets to be very muddled and kind of very odd in this kind of game. But at the same time, I think I think it worked. It's not necessarily that it's the most logical form of time travel, but at the same time, not every story needs to treat time travel the same way. Not every story needs to treat magic the same way. Uh, and I think for this story, it was confusing at times, but it did actually work within the story. And it also, I think, did help um, justify my decision to play through and do the cafe quest and the Romani Ranch quests before beating the game, because then at least we get to feel like, okay, those two things actually did happen in the days leading up to the moon finally getting pushed back and put back in its proper place. So, see, we also saw in this game, of course, the masks were a very important part of it, and none more so than the transformation masks, the Deku mask, the Zora mask, and the Goron mask. And not only did those give Link different abilities that were a lot of fun to use and led to some good not problem, puzzles to solve. But I think from a story perspective, they also helped us to kind of connect with the various races more. And they made a little bit more sense of why are the Zoras helping Link out to have him go uh, to try to go stop what's going on. Well, because they think he's Mikau. They it gives them that personal connection. Um, even though they're mistaken, they at least feel like the characters feel like there's a personal connection, and that helps us feel like we're getting to know the characters a little better and they're friendlier without it being like this bizarre, hey, random person who just showed up here, help us out. I'll tell you more than I would ever tell my best friend, kind of thing. Which is often a problem in video games where you don't really want to. Most of the time, players don't want to spend like years fostering a friendship, before they can move on with the story. But at the same time, it is a little bit odd when games do that of just have people implicitly trust a stranger who's just come into town. So I think the transformation mask really helped with that. That we, um, in the case of the Deku, we we were a Deku, so they're like, okay, yeah, you can come and go as you please. And for the other races, we were a particular hero of that race that people were like, okay, yeah, of course, Darmani's going to set things to right. He's the Goron hero. Of course, Mikau's going to help us out. He's this great Zora uh, fighter hero person. And of course, that we also noticed that though the reason we were able to become these characters is because the characters themselves died, which was a huge theme in Majora's Mask. Death and just loss. Uh, there's this very even though the game itself can be silly at times, and you have all these bright colors and this there's a lot of fun stuff with the game. There is kind of a sense of almost melancholy in some cases as well, of just everything that's going on is in uh, like everybody, even though we set things to right, there's still some characters who've died who have been lost. There's stuff that's happened that um, can't be undone. Even the whole start of this, like why did this all happen, was, well, Skull Kid ended up doing lots of mean stuff and stealing the mask and going completely off the edge because he thought his friends did go away and he thought he had lost his friends forever. Um, and so overall, the game was just much much darker than most, like all the previous titles that we've seen, and I think that's I really like that about this game, that they weren't afraid to try out darker themes. I mean, didn't get it didn't get uh, too heavy, I think, and it certainly didn't go with like gruesomeness or anything like that. But they were willing to try that out and try some more mature themes, and I think worked out pretty well. I also think it's a little odd that in this game was the darker and is the one that is actually classified on Twitch at least as horror, even though Ocarina of Time isn't, when Ocarina of Time had the whole dungeon that was like blood and death related things that um, it just seemed weird. And even had the what were they, dead hands, uh, one of the creepiest enemies I think in all of Zelda. But um, which I guess also goes to show that sometimes just kind of hinting at things or alluding to things can be more impactful than, hey, here's a big scary enemy right on the screen. Uh, See, we also had the fact that in this game, most of the story was actually in the side quests. Not all of it. There was quite a bit that we had to do, but there were a lot of side quests, and a lot of them were actually related to the story or gave us information about the story. Um, for instance, one I think of is the Beaver Brothers up on top of the waterfall. Um, that could have just been a, hey, want to race us for a bottle kind of mini game, but they tied it in with Mikau's story of, oh, that Zora guy that you look like was here before wanting our bottle because you know needed some way to be able to carry the eggs back. And of course, the biggest example of this is Anju's grandmother, I think, because her stories are kind of the clearest and most complete stories of the backstory and what's going on, which makes it really interesting, even odd, that in order to hear those stories, you have to get the mask that you have to jump through the most hoops in order to get. Well, maybe not quite. I guess Cafe and Anju's mask requires a little bit more than that, but the couple's mask, uh, even if it requires more work, at least Anju and Cafe, that story is kind of right there in our face from the beginning. Like you walk around town, you're going to see Cafe wearing his Keaton mask, you know, putting the letter in the post box almost first thing. You'll almost certainly talk to Anju a couple times and even hear people talking about, you know, how Cafe's mom is looking for him and stuff. So that's even though there's a lot of work to that one, it's a pretty obvious quest that just playing through the game, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to get this at some point, and try to figure out what's going on. For Andrew's grandmother, there was we needed the all night mask, and that one it was just it's very well hidden and not very obvious what exactly you have to do in order to get that. So it was just very interesting that so much of the game, um, you could, if you were just focusing on what you needed to do to beat the game, you would miss out on so much of the story because a lot of the story is in the side quests rather than in the main quest. Um, And that leads me to wanting to talk about some data I looked up, which, in order to really talk about it, I need to explain speed runs for anybody who might be watching who doesn't know about speed runs. And if you do, then I'm sorry to have to explain stuff that you already know. But uh, start with a speed run transition. A speed run is people playing through a game as fast as they can, and there's uh, people do it for a challenge and also for competitive reasons because a lot of speed runs, if you can verify that you beat it in this time, like by taking video or something, you can post it to leaderboards and compare with other people and be like, hey, I have the top score for this game in the world. And for a particular game, there are different categories of speed runs because people have different ideas of what rules should be required. For instance, a lot of games have glitches that if you do certain things, you can kind of trick the game into behaving in a way it's not supposed to. And some people think that that's really cool and like, okay, I want to see how I can use that to run the game faster. And other people are like, I don't really want to mess with those. I want to play the game just as intended, but I still want to play it fast. So why this is relevant is within the glitchless category, the not using glitches, there are also categories of 100% and any percent. And 100% is where am I? 100% is where you're getting all of the stuff in the game uh, within reason. Like you're getting all the heart containers, you're getting all the masks, you're getting all the items, all the bottles, everything. Any percent is you just have to beat the game. We don't care how much of the stuff you get as long as you beat the game. And so where this comes in is these are for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the what's currently on speedrun.com, the fastest runners for glitchless, no glitchless, 100% speedrun. So getting everything in the game. And um, you can see the times on these are both a little over 5 hours and 40 minutes. Very close. Uh, if we look at the any percent, which is, again, you don't have to collect everything, you just have to actually beat the game. We could see Ocarina of Time is 3 hours 38 minutes. Majora's Mask is 2 hours and 41 minutes, almost an hour faster. So they were within 2 minutes of each other before. Now they're an hour apart. And where I'm going with this, why I'm going through all this explanation, is my interpretation of this is when I look at the 100% times, I figure that's roughly the entire content of the game, as in a relative manner speaking. That if both games are 5 hours 40 minutes, then that means they're both roughly the same size, have the same amount of content. Now it's not perfect. It's not a perfect measurement because you do have things such as loading screens and travel time, and speedrunners aren't going to be like talking to everybody, so they're not necessarily going after every single little Easter egg and reference. So it's not an absolute measurement, but for just a ballpark estimate, I think it works. And then when we look at the any percent, you don't need to go after all the stuff. You just need to beat the game. I figured that's more of an estimate of just the main storyline content because the main storyline is the main part that you have to do to play through the game and beat it. And so when we look at this, the Ocarina of time is 64% of the 100% time. And so I figure that means the main storyline of the game is kind of the bulk of the content there, roughly 2/3. I mean, we did have the Bigoron sword, we did have uh, the Gold Skulltula quest, and then stuff like the frogs and some random heart containers, but they're most of the story or most of the content was dedicated to the main story. With Majora's Mask, this actually comes to about 47% of the 100% time, which means that less than half of the game is devoted to its main story, according to these estimates. So it with that we can see like more than half of Majora's Mask's content, I believe, is kind of related to side quests and um, optional material, which is but as we saw, still linked to story or even linked to the main story, just kind of tangentially. And I find it interesting that you could tell so much of the story is just optional pieces of okay, you want to play through fast, here you can do this, and you get a basic story. You want to learn all the details about all the people. There's a lot of stuff for you to explore and a lot of ways to go about that, and you basically double the amount of the game you're playing at that point. So hopefully that explanation made sense and didn't get people too lost there. But so overall, for Majora's Mask, I thought this was a very fun and fascinating story. Um, I liked especially that at the end, we got to hear how Skull Kid got to be the way he was, and not that there's anything wrong with just the big evil villains who are out to take over the world, but sometimes it's nice to also have ones like this where it's like Skull Kid himself was kind of a victim. He lost his friends, didn't know where they were. As a result, got um, kind of got into some trouble, and then when he found Majora's Mask, he you know got into way more trouble. But we were able to help him out in addition to saving the rest of Termina. So that was kind of fun. Um, and then at the end, he got to you know had his fairy friends back. He met the four giants, found out that no, we didn't leave because we weren't your friends. We left because we had other stuff to do, but we're still your friends. And he's friends with Link too. So all in all, just I thought they did a really good job with that, and it was a lot of fun to play through. All right, so with that, I think we're officially done with Majora's Mask content, and we can move on to our next game, which let me change some stuff over. Um, got my copy of the manual up, and so when I was looking at the poll, we actually had a three-way tie for first. Uh, we had people who wanted to do the item order. We had people who wanted to do uh, uh, the enemy order, and then we had people who wanted to do both um, ages then seasons, then also do seasons then ages. So I wasn't going to vote if there was a clear winner, but because there was no clear winner, I chose to do both. And starting with Oracle of Ages, and uh, for those of you who are thinking that, oh man, we just got through one game that took how many weeks, and now we're going to be doing two games twice. These games will be much shorter. Um, there's not as much uh, there's not as much optional content, and the games themselves are going to be more similar to like Link's Awakening in size. But to start with, we of course we have our manual, so let's dive in and see what the story is for Oracle of Ages. Oh, and before I forget, here's the link for anybody who wants to check out the manual so you can see more about the characters or anything else about the game. All right, a new chapter. Link awoke one day to find himself deep in a strange forest. As he started to walk through the woods, he heard cries for help coming from just up ahead of him. Link hurried toward the voice, only to find a group of monsters surrounding the woman who was screaming. When the monsters saw Link, they immediately fled. This is actually sounding kind of familiar, I think. If I recall the original Legend of Zelda, we um, had a similar thing, so maybe he actually fought off the monsters there. The woman who was being attacked was none other than Impa, nurse to Hyrule's Princess Zelda. Okay. Again, same as the original Legend of Zelda. Impa said she had come to the forest to search for a singer named Nehru. Can't you help me look? Impa asked. Despite the strange look she gave him, Link could not refuse her request. Together they found a large stone with a rune on it. Naturally, Link moved the stone, but Impa wouldn't so much as lay a hand on it. Is the naturally apply to Impa not laying a hand on it? And why is it natural that just because they find a large stone with a rune on it, Link would move it? I don't know. As they traveled even deeper into the forest, they found a young woman singing. Invited to sit by the group of animals that listened to the girl's song, Link joined in the circle and let the beautiful song fill his ears and penetrate his heart. This was surely Nehru, the singer Impa was searching for. Just then, Impa erupted in a cackling laugh. Ah ha 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 ha! A darkness surrounded Impa, and a frightening shadow lifted from her body. Nehru, Oracle of Ages, I, Varen, Sorceress of Shadows, shall make you my own. A shadow that called itself Varen began swooping about the forest before flying straight into the body of the frightened singer. A blinding light shone forth from Nehru's body. When Link's eyes had grown used to the light, he realized that Nehru looked very strange. Her face seemed veiled in shadow, and her bright smile had vanished. A piercing, evil gaze had replaced it. Ha ha ha! Ha ha. Okay, missed two of them there. Now the power of the Oracle of Ages is mine. I can travel through time at will. Now a new age shall begin, an age of shadows. And with that, Varen and Nehru vanished. Nehru was actually the Oracle of Ages who controlled time in this land of Labrynna. When the Oracle was kidnapped, the flow of time in Labrynna was distorted, and strange things began to happen. Before vanishing, Varen said, "When the past changes, so does the present." Her plan was to travel to the past and gather power from the sorrows of the people of Labrynna so that she could create her Age of Shadows. Will Link be able to free Nehru from Varen's evil clutches? Such is the quest that Link must now undertake. Okay. So let me see if I can get... Okay. Hopefully everybody can see the game screen now. When I start, we'll hopefully also be able to hear the audio. And I just want to see if I can change this. All right. Okay. I think the stream tag also, I was able to change that to Oracle of Ages. So, all right, let's get this started off. And we still have more than half our time left. Good. Here it's quiet. Okay, Link riding and encountering a castle. Should mention, in case it wasn't obvious, this, hey, we finally got the Triforce. This was made for the Game Boy Color, so that's why graphics will be a bit less than, or a bit lower end than they were in the N64 games. Oh. Okay. Um, this is another one of those games that doesn't have numbers available, so I will be JJ48. Okay. Accept our quest, hero. Okay. I'm not hearing any music. Don't have any items, so let's... Oh, somebody's screaming for help. And even without a sword, we just scare monsters away. Okay. That was frightening. I was suddenly attacked. Thank you, traveler. What is your name? JJ48, is it? I see a triangle on the back of your left hand. That is the sign of a Hyrulean hero. That must be why the beast fled. I am Impa, nurse to Hyrule's Princess Zelda. I am looking for a singer named Nehru. Will you help me look? I'd feel safer with you nearby. I mean, I probably shouldn't because we read the manual, and so we know what's going to happen, but I guess I don't have much choice. The old graveyard, that way. What a great spot. Such clean air. Now if only time could stop. That seems rather ominous thing to say. This is the animals' utopia. Soon more animals come. Oh, that's it. This rock with the Triforce sign. Or triangle sign. I guess it's not split up, so it's not really a Triforce. Could you move this rock for me? I'll just... I can't do it. Nehru's house is up there. Lina City. Just say, I want to go to Lina City first. Where are you going? Hurry up and move this. Okay, fine. I'll check out Lina City later then. Thank you. Now let's go. No, I have to hear Nehru's song. How charming. Shh, I can't hear Nehru sing. There's a person along with the... or a human along with the animals. Huh? Nehru's the best singer in Labrina. Interesting, so in Link's Awakening, of course, we also had the, we had Marin singing at the, to the animals in Animal Village. La la li li la la la, la la li li la la li li la. Okay, I think if we talk to this guy again. Sit here and listen. How charming. Okay, thank you. Isn't it enchanting? I'm kind of surprised her voice apparently provides its own harmony. You're Hyrule's messengers, aren't you? Impa and JJ48, right? A bird brought message of your arrival. My name is Ralph. I'm an old friend of Nehru's. We're counting on you. Is she singing while she's speaking to us? That's even more impressive. Thank you. You've come all the way from Hyrule, correct? Pleased to meet you. I am Nehru. I've been very worried after hearing that Labrina would face many evil troubles. Don't worry, Nehru. I'm here. I'll chase away any beast that comes near you. Sorry, but I doubt we'll need you. Okay, well, that's going to be a really short game then. I'm sorry, Ralph is always like this when it comes to me. But I feel that something evil is approaching, just as Ralph claims. kind of an unpleasant smile. Ah ha 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 ha. Bear looks worried. You are correct. Not bad for a diva. Not bad for Nehru, Oracle of Ages. Something terrible will happen right now, before your very eyes. I'm gonna spin over here. Thank you. You allowed me to pass through the sacred barrier. I've been waiting for this moment. I am Varen, Sorceress of Shadows. Nehru, Oracle of Ages, I shall make your body my own. Ahahaha. I'm going to give you a slightly bluish complexion. What are you doing to Nehru? I'll cut you in two if you don't let her go. Ha, aren't you brave, turning a sword at me. If you cut me, it's Nehru who dies. Uh-oh, that's gonna make this kind of tricky, isn't it? Nehru is no mere diva, she is the Oracle of Ages who controls time. Now the Oracle's powers are mine. I can travel through time as I choose. I can also leap very high. Now a new age shall begin, the Age of Darkness. Ahahaha. I shall go to the past and do as I please. Oh yeah, the music got ominous, so that's our indication that this is not good. Uh-oh. Oh no, going to the past turned him into an old man. Oh, not the monkeys. How did going into the past turn a kid into stone? That Varen. She couldn't touch the stone, so she used you to get in here. I've known Nehru was the Oracle of Ages since she was a child. I have always been beside her, protecting her. But now this, Nehru! Nehru, wait, I'll save you! Nehru! Oh, you saved me. Well, no, you just got depossessed. Actually, I guess Varen possessing Nehru is what saved you. To think I was possessed. Shadows were surrounding the Oracle of Ages, so I came, hoping to take her to Hyrule. I had no idea this would happen. That Varen lady is frightening. I was forced to do her will in spite of myself. Varen said she'd go back in time. She must be planning to use Nehru's power to launch some sort of plan in the past. Labrina already feels the effects. If it's true, we must stop her. Ah, my limbs feel so heavy after what Varen did. I can't move them very easily. If the mark on your left hand is real, then you may be the hero who will save this world. Please help us. Ah yes, Zelda entrusted this sword to me. You may use it. Alright. Got a hero's wooden sword. Okay. Alright, can you go meet the Maku tree in Lina Village? The Maku tree is the guardian of Labrina. Certainly she can help. Neighbor's house is in the woods east of here. I'll be there. Oh yeah, just invite yourself into neighbor's house and she's gone, I guess. Okay, we have our familiar Zelda music now. Alright, please save neighbor. Okay, that's all you have to say. Okay, can't really interact with stuff. So, okay. At least we get to check out the city now. Hey, are you the guy that was transformed from a young guy into an old guy, or are you a different old guy? This is Lina City. Okay, guess we're not going to get an answer to that. Okay, need 30 rupees for a shield. Bring you any item I wish to purchase, okay. Alright, Maku trees, sure, but we want to check out the village first, or the city. Ouch, you can't carry them like that. Okay. Apparently slashing them counts as carrying them. A mermaid statue. Let's... They're building a tower on the other side of the river. Okay. That joke goes against our aesthetics, you know. What joke? So what kind of candy is never on time? Choco late. Isn't that a sweet joke? I mean, it would probably work better if that's how chocolate was pronounced. It's a joke that I guess kind of works in print. I don't think it would work vocally. Oh no. What's going on? My grandson has turned to stone. How? Why? I'm kind of curious about the same thing. Wake up, call me Grandma again. Oh. Dude, there is a kid turned to stone in that house with his grieving grandmother, and you have the audacity to tell stupid jokes like, I'm done with you. That is just beyond infuriating. Oh, okay, so this is... I won't talk to all of them, but this is how, if you hadn't played the game before, you could learn stuff like learn about the subscreens, or mystical seeds. We'll find out about them later. So, what kind of hero has a wooden sword? Well, in Link in the original Zelda had a presumably wooden sword. I think that was the brown one that we had. Now, just because he did it, I don't think that means that other heroes necessarily should copy him, but... I'm Mamamoo Yan, the top breeder in town. My dog is much cuter than that dog, much cuter. But my dog is very shy. Do you know of a good way to hide its face? Do dogs care about their face being seen? Like, if it's shy around people, would it care that its face was covered? Oh, this is some grand music. Oh. Okay, so this must be the tower they were saying was being built, but entrance is blocked. Ho ho, I am Troy. In my younger days, I traveled the world and saw many animals. Even at my age, I'm quite dedicated. You shall promise if you've come to hear me speak. Just between us, I've seen an animal called Dimitri that can be lifted, carried, and even thrown about. Just between us, I have seen a terrifying monster that eats shields. How frightful. Okay, so this guy just tell us about different animals? Or is it always just about the likes? Okay. You told us about Dimitri, and now it's just all likes from here. Okay. Hmm. I am Bippin, the expert arborist. I know plenty about trees. Now let me tell you something. Blossom and I just had our first child. Yes, we did. That doesn't have to do with trees, but congratulations. Have a look. Okay. I am Blossom. This is my first child, a healthy baby boy. But I am having trouble choosing a name. Can you help me think of one? What would you call him? It's true that if you should always introduce yourself to people before asking the stranger who entered your house what you should name your child. Um, let's see, what should we call him? I think there's like a 5-character limit. Um, let's try this. Here's a good Hylian name. There. You would name him Ganon? I mean, I just did. It's a fine name. I shall call him so. He seems happy to have it. Hopefully we didn't just set up like the end of the world or anything with this. Come visit us anytime. I hope Ganon will grow to be strong and healthy like you. So, the name is decided. Ganon, huh? It's a fine name. I hope he grows to be a fine child. Hopefully he'll grow up better than some of the other Ganons we've had. I think we missed. Oh, I haven't seen this screen either. Lately, folk have been vanishing and turning to stone without warning. What's happening? I am Plen, the mayor here in Lina City. Lina has a long history reaching back hundreds of years. Back then it was Lina Village, not a city. No, we can't rob his treasure chest today. Do come in, I am Vazu, the jeweler. Is this your first time? Then let me explain jewelry. Well, I wish I could walk into the store for the first time and just get, like, a basic explanation of whatever the store's wares are. Actually, I'm not serious. I would not like that. That seems like that would be very irritating if that happened every time you walked into a new store. Rings made from mystical seeds have very mystical powers. If you wear one, its mystical power will be passed to you, but you must keep it in your ring box. The mystical power will gradually weaken, and you won't be able to use it, understood? Okay. Oh, you don't have a ring box? I like you, so here, take this ring box. Okay, so you're giving me one for free so that I'll get hooked and come back. Okay. Got a level 1 ring box. It can hold 1 ring. Take this ring as a sign of our friendship. Got a ring. Get it appraised. Until you've had a ring appraised and its power revealed, you cannot wear it. Let's appraise it. Okay, appraise this. I call this the friendship ring, symbol of a meeting. I'll appraise it for free this time, but after this it will be 20 rupees per ring. If you get 2 of the same ring, I'll buy one for 30 rupees. Okay. Now the list. Appraised rings get added to the list. When you want a ring, move it from your list to your box. Talk to me to see your list. Let's take a peek at it now. Okay, so we can... Yeah, I don't think I need a ring just to symbolize the friendship, though. Rings do nothing unless worn. Okay. I will come back and see if I find any rings, I guess. And have extra rupees. The Maku tree stands at the far end of this cave. Maku path. Yeah, okay, there's a barrier here, so we can't go in the main entrance, I guess. Maku Road. Not a particularly dangerous sounding cave. Danger. Yeah, well, nice safety fences around the pits. That's very good. Presumably these places have been roped off because they're too dangerous or blocked off. Must be well maintained if there's still fires going in here, so people must come through from time to time. Pleased to meet you, young hero. I am the Maku Tree, guardian of Labrina. Varen, sorceress of shadows, has taken Nehru, the Oracle of Ages. She's disrupting the flow of time from the past. She's trying to flood this world with the power of sorrow. We cannot give in to one of impure heart. You must stop Varen, and soon. But to stop her, you'll need something. Something? Oh. Ah. I feel so weird. I'm vanishing. Honestly, if I were vanishing, I don't know that I would know the feeling well enough to be able to recognize that that's what was happening to me. I'm kind of impressed. Something must be happening to me in the past. Help! Oh dear. Hmm. Um. The Maku tree. This is more of Varen's work. You made it. Varen just leapt through this time portal. She did that a while ago. If we go back in time, we should be able to save Nehru and the Maku tree. I'm coming, Nehru. Another one? First that guy with the weird hat appears, then you. Ever since that girl Nehru came, there's been all sorts of weird goings-on. What were you doing up here? There's nothing up here, dude. So, we can hear the music has changed a little bit. Like it's still the same tune, but it's like it's played a little bit slower and with a little bit different instrumentation, I think. They look like a happy family. I wish I could join them. The village has it hard with the construction of Queen Ambi's tower, but you still gotta spend time with the kids. Hey, nice one. Okay, faster this time. I'll throw it, so catch it, Dad. Anything in here? Cheval's house. Okay. Don't know who Cheval is. There's been no night for days, as if time has stopped. That seems like something worthy of concern. I am Rafton. My dream is to make fine rafts that can sail the seas. Okay. Also notice that in the past, the overall coloration is different. Like the color palette is overall kind of darker and not as saturated with color. The Queen was very kind until only recently. You can ask the village elder about the Queen. He lives across the river near the tower. Hey, the mermaid statue still exists here in the past. Queen Ambi had a boyfriend, a seafaring man, but he set sail one day and never came back. She's building a tall tower so she can search the lands for any sign of his return. It's called Ambi's Tower. It was a touching tale. This isn't good. I want to deliver the mail on time, but I can't do it if I don't know the time. You kind of strike me somewhat similar to the postman from the last game. Why are you sad? The village is full of excess dirt from the tower. There's no room to walk, and any tools we could use to clear a path are being used for construction. This is a mini-game. Hit targets, win fabulous prizes. 350 points and up, a ring, a Gasha seed, 30 rupees, or 1 heart, nothing. Okay, I don't need to play mini-games at the moment. Are you just randomly hitting... Like, why are you hitting on both sides of you here? The village has been full of rubble ever since work started on that tower. You can't get anywhere without a shovel to clear a path. Oh, don't hit me. Alright, okay, so yeah, we're gonna need a shovel to get through here. The Maku tree is a talking tree, but lately she's been bothered by monsters. This is Lina Village. Wow, oh, excuse me, we haven't had any nights for... Oh, that's supposed to be a yelling. Whoa, oh. Excuse me, we haven't had any nights for a few days now. Queen Ambi is busy. She's in no mood for any who come empty-handed. Bring her a rare item in tribute if you wish to see her. Now, is it just me, or do the roofs of these houses... Excuse me, sir. I'll be right back. Do the roofs of these houses almost look like an open book? Like, there's the spine, and then here's the pages splayed out to either side. Okay, now, sorry, sir. Who are you? Darn, Gasha seeds, sprouting, growing, making nuts, and all those new nuts got different stuff inside. Ha! Get rid of it for me. Okay. Got a Gasha seed, plant it in soft soil. I know there's soil right by my house, but don't go planting seeds there. Huh? My name? It's Pippin. Don't forget it. Okay. Okay, so like this kind of soil is where we can plant a Gasha seed. And then it just sits there for a while. Paper. Do you have any paper? I do not. Yeah, the pot's heavy. Ha! Only the darkness can ease my heart. I guess laughing my troubles away is just a dream deferred. I am Adlar. For 50 years I was a palace advisor, but I have since been chased from the palace and am now retired. I have known the queen since she was young. She always held the people foremost in her heart. But since she took that girl Nehru in, she has changed completely. She quit listening to my advice. It was that girl who suggested I be banished. But... just who is this Nehru? I can only see her as a monster in human guise. I wonder if the queen is all right. Okay, I just realized that is a very odd way to greet newcomers to your town. Um, why build such a huge thing? It's just work, work, work. This is the entry to the tower being built to the heavens by the order of Queen Ambi. That it's tough to judge the scale when we don't see any like people or things like that here, but man, that thing looks massive. At first, this tower was being built to guide Queen Ambi's love safely back from the sea. But ever since Nehru came, the sun sits high in the sky as if time itself has stopped. It's not like Queen Ambi to push us so hard. In the village, they've started calling it the Black Tower. You can look around, but the construction has some areas closed. If you hang around too much, though, you might get yelled at. Okay, the Black Tower. This here, that there. No, that goes here. No sleep. My son's home alone. It's no use. What a horrible queen. But don't tell anyone. My job isn't done. How can I face the queen? I'll never make it. Well, maybe if you did your job instead of walking around in circles. Dig, dump, dig. It's been awful ever since that Nehru girl appeared. Now we have to work hours on end. We must finish the tower for Ambi as quickly as possible. Okay, so your job is to just kind of stand here and watch him doing his job, and you guys' jobs are just to wander aimlessly? Seems very inefficient. Busy, busy, busy. If I don't hurry, the guards will come check on me. Oh, how long have I worked? Night never comes, so I can't tell. I want to go home. Okay, that seems... I mean, brutal, but effective way to get unpaid overtime, I guess, because it's not technically overtime, since quitting time never came. Same response. What? Kid, did you come to help us build? No, I came to just kind of look around a bit, I guess. Okay. Oh, I mean, the guard's right over there. So maybe you should do something instead of walking around. Heave-ho. We're supposed to finish tomorrow, but we're way behind schedule. We'll never make it. Tomorrow never really comes, actually. Okay. Now you have to work hours on end. Oh, it must be union jobs? Probably. Queen Ambi has changed. She was never cruel, but now she makes us do the impossible. But you didn't hear it from me. It's been awful ever since that Nehru girl appeared. Now we have to work hours. Okay. Some of them say different stuff, some of them say the same stuff. Digging tool, that's the spirit, Sonny. Here, you can have this shovel. Can you use the shovel to move that dirt out of the way? We're working hard on this tower. Help us out. Okay. We must finish the tower for Ambi as quickly. Okay, so here's the problem. These are not rocks. These are clumps of dirt, which means you guys should probably not be using pickaxes. You should also be having shovels. Maybe if you had the proper tools, this job would go much faster. Oh, you don't want me to go that way? There's no going past this point. Nothing up there is complete, so there's no entry. Now get. What if I'm supposed to be the one to help build stuff so that there is stuff up there? Think a shovel would be a better weapon than a wooden sword? What if it's a wooden shovel? Alright. Got a piece of heart. We know what those do by now. We still can't go in this way. It's Meku Road, looking much the same as it does in the present. For now. Okay, so except the pits are not fenced off. Okay, we need a key to go that way. Where am I trying to get to? No, okay, I think I want to go this way first. I think even the chests look different than in the past than they do in the future. Or in the present. Okay. Oh, I didn't mention it, but this is actually the same dungeon or cave theme as Link's Awakening, I think. Okay, how do we get there? There we go. Alright, we got a piece of heart. Okay, then this is... So at some point in the past, or sometime between, and we were already in the past, so sometimes between the past and the present, which is future of us, this wall, somebody realizes that they can just bust a hole in it instead of going and getting a key and then coming this way. Is there somebody whose job is like reset this after each time someone goes through it? So that like, or has no one ever solved it before? This is the guy Varen was talking about. Get him! No, no, leave me alone! What's with you? Keep clear. Oh dear, get them! So they threaten me and then immediately just start wandering around paying no attention to me. Wow, you were so daring and cool. Thank you. Who are you? Yeah. What a nice name. I'm the Meku Tree. You were brave. They said the Oracle of Ages convinced Queen Ambi to build a black tower. Maybe she made them attack me. Thank you for rescuing me. I will never ever forget it. And I promise I'll repay you when I grow up. This is about all I can do. Aha! Is that about all you can do right now, or is that just like, that's the limit of a Meku Tree's powers, is opening the gate to the Meku Tree? Remember, I will repay you when I grow up. Be sure to come see me. Oh, dear, when I grow up, I'm going to be your bride. Ah, I said it. Okay, am I the same Link um, as Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask? Because that could get a little bit awkward because I'm already kind of engaged to a fish lady. So, um, oh, there's a portal here now. Anybody commenting on the portal? No. Okay, no, that's just entrance there. Everyone seems to want to marry Link. Yes, it does seem to be, he does seem to be rather popular in that way. It's weird. It all seems so foggy. I'm forgetting so much. Oh, you're JJ48. Why are you here now? I've been waiting so long for you. Don't you remember? Hundreds of years ago? You promised. I didn't say anything that I recall. When I grow up, I'll marry you. That's what you said. That's what I said. No. Okay. So we have established that Maku trees do not have good memories. 400 years I waited. Okay, so we now have a timeline. It has been 400 years between the past and the present. But I knew you wouldn't forget about me. Our hearts are bound across time by a thread of... What? That's not why you're here. Okay, well, at least maybe now we'll get down to business. Why won't you listen to me? Fine, you want to talk about Varen, right? Maybe Varen is using Queen Ambi to raise the tower to the heavens. If one of impure heart gains the powers of shadow, this world will be covered in darkness. That's what this is about. To know the past is to know the present. Varen can do as she pleases if she finds dark power in the past. All will go dark. You must stop Varen and save Nehru. Must I say it again? No. That's alright. I don't recall, but I think you need the 8 essences of time hidden in Labrina to beat Varen. The essences hold the power to see the truth, and they hold my memory. That's why your memory is so poor. Okay. Or at least that's why you're claiming that your memory is so poor. You won't beat Varen if you can't see the truth. With the flow of time disrupted, my memory is fading. What will we do? I'm at a loss. But if you find the essences, I'll remember everything. And you'll be able to stop Varen. Please do this. Okay. First, I want you to go to Yol Graveyard in the east. I hear the first essence there. I can't do much, but take this. The ember seeds in this seed satchel will offer light in dark places and burn small trees from your path. Alright, we got a seed satchel, and it has 20 ember seeds. Okay. I like my particular item order in the subscreen. Okay, so we're inside the Maku tree. Welcome, I am Furore, Oracle of Secrets. This is the Hall of Secrets where your secrets take form. At times and places you will hear powerful secrets. At those times, come see me. I can give shape and form to your secrets. So this is actually, when we link the games together, like when we beat this game, we'll get a code to be able to start Oracle of Seasons as a linked game. And when doing a linked game, one game will give you a code that you take to the other game, and that's how you can get some unique items and stuff from the linked game. And so we won't really be talking to Furore much in currently. But then up here at the top of the Maku tree, there's also occasionally some stuff. So. Okay, so let's see. So if we do this, Hey, we got 30 rupees. You know, that happens to be just enough for a shield. Oh, you weren't here before, were you? There's a weird guy by the sea. He just floats in the air. I wonder what he's like. Wooden shield, 30 rupees. Okay. And what do you... okay, I guess if I encounter a like I might want more shields. Okay, so now we have a seed satchel. We can carry those. So Yule Graveyard was this way. Okay, was that really necessary to have trees that I had to burn on both ends there? What happened to the seed that I planted? It'll grow up later. I I think it's... I don't think it's strictly time based. I think it's like how many monsters you kill or something. Like after you kill a certain threshold, the seed grows up. Um, I mean, I think it's supposed to seem like it's kind of time, but I know that the number of monsters can affect the seeds and like what's in them, and I think that way they can make sure you don't just like plant a seed, then put your game down and forget about it. No way, it's too scary. It's pitch black inside that grave beneath the tree. Shut up, it's no good if you get scared. Besides, it might come out. The ghost. Oh, all three of you got scared. Okay, I don't have any seeds to plant there. I need a bracelet for that. It kind of looks interesting, the structure over there. Kind of mausoleum-ish. Oh, there weren't any ghosts at all in here. We got the graveyard key. Yeah, there we go. So now that's interesting. This key is apparently still in our inventory. Key to a spirit's grave. Because normally when we use a key, the key just, like, disappears, like it breaks or something. It's a friendly-looking ghost. We'll have to come back when we have the power bracelet. Level 1 Spirit's Grave. Oh, the eyes on these statues are following me. A little unsettling. So, unless I'm... What, something fell? Oh, something fell. A key fell. I'm trying to listen. I don't think I hear... I don't really hear a cave theme like in Link's Awakening. We were discussing how they were using the music to set the feel. Another chest over there. Come in this way. But there definitely is a aha. I mean, it is adding a nice spooky atmosphere here. Oh, okay. Just a ring. Doesn't look like anything else over here. It's a dungeon map, alright. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to come in from there to be able to push the block correctly. This is gonna be my key. There it is. Okay. Okay, so there's way across there. And there's why we want to get across there. Okay, another Gasha seed. Let's see, where am I going? Okay, so if I go up, that's going to be to the boss, but we're not going to be ready for that yet. So let's try exploring this. Oh. Oh. Oh, get off. Okay, I don't want those things to hit me. Okay, so that was our mini boss. Yeah, I kind of miss having... Hey, wait a second, you're a moblin throwing a boomerang. You're like a mix between a moblin and a gorilla. There's times like the mini boss I kind of miss having a fairy companion to kind of tell me what everything's name is, and This is a very Zelda 1 style treasure room. Except without a bunch of irritating bats attacking me while I'm trying to get over here. Alright, so we got the power bracelet, which we've seen it a few times now, does let us lift up heavy objects. Okay, we got another ring. Okay. And we found the boss key, so that should be everything. Can I only move a red block 1 square? What red blocks are we... Oh, those things. Yes, those, once you move them once, they'll, like, they'll just stay in place. So, like, I can do that, but, like, if I push further on it, it won't budge. This one I haven't moved yet, though, so. Sometimes they'll even only be movable from a certain position, like, the ones in Maku Road. I had to go to certain ones to move them, and they could only move in certain ways. Some of them don't move at all, like I don't know if these ones will move. Yeah, these ones are just locked in place. So, they can get a little bit confusing as to like which ones move and which ones don't, and how you can move them. Oh, Wallmaster. Wow, you do not have much time on those. Okay, we have a... Oh, I see. I was thinking of like the genie boss from Link's Awakening, where you have to like throw his bottle against the wall. Here I had to get that little thing out of the pumpkin head and slash it in. Okay. We got a heart container. Good. Alright, we got the Eternal Spirit, an essence of time. Even after life ends, it speaks across time to the heart. Okay, fitting for like a ghost graveyard thing. It's me, the Maku tree. I hear an essence echoing in western woods. Can you go there? Okay. There we go. Ow, ow, ow. Watch where you're going. You just hit Maple, the Great Witch Syrup's apprentice. Thanks to you, all the stuff flew out of my bag. The Great Witch will be mad, and I have to get that picture book. Who could have that book? Well, it's all made me mad, so I'm going to take your stuff, too. Ahaha, now you're sorry I have more stuff than before. Yeah, but it was mostly the, like, ember seeds, which I can pick up more of in town, and I got a bunch of rupees out of it. I think, or did I just pick up my own rupees? Maple shows up every once in a while Um, when after we've like after so much time, I think like every 30 enemies or something that we kill. And when she shows up, we'll get on a screen. There won't be any enemies. You'll just see like her shadow fly over, so you know that she's gonna show up. Someone finally came. This headstone blocks my path to the afterlife. I'm actually below here, right? I'd appreciate it if you could help me out. Okay. A headstone blocks your path to the afterlife. That's seems odd. Are you like an evil spirit and that headstone was blessed or something? That I'm not really sure how that works. You must have moved my headstone. That means I can move on to the afterworld. My heart lifts at the thought of it. Thanks. Um. Okay, that's all. Okay. Oh, you came out. Since I'm moving on, I don't need this anymore. Take it. I hope you can reach the afterworld soon too. Thanks. I guess I should take that comment in the spirit it was given. We got the Poe clock. It lightens the heart. Okay, so we'll have to have flippers to get over there. We need something to cross a lot of holes to be able to get to the place that's over here. But there was another place over here that we needed. Oh, we can plant a Gasha seed here. Okay, I don't think we have enough time to really get to the next, get to the next area, but we can go talk to some folks in town, such. So, is the shop selling anything different? Nope. See what the Meiku tree said. Oh, we can get our rings appraised. I hear an essence echoing in the western. Okay, that's the same thing. But be sure to come back. Well, we'll see. Nope. Hey, Meiku tree, you have a fairy living on your head now. Okay, that's good to know that's up here if we need to... if we ever need a great fairy while we're in town. A much less creepy great fairy than the great fairies we've been seeing recently. Okay. Oh, yep. This is the Power Ring level 1. Sword damage up, but damage taken is also up. Okay, that might be a good trade-off. Discovery Ring. Sense soft earth nearby. Oh. Wait a second. I want to do that. Okay. Oh, wait a second. The very first one was the one I wanted, wasn't it? I thought, for some reason, I was thinking that was the Discovery Ring. Yeah, okay, here we go. So then, not there, here. There we go. We can wear the Power Ring. We'll take more damage, but we'll also do more damage, which is, I think, a decent trade-off. I just need to remember I'm wearing it, so like if I encounter a boss that's really tough and I'm dying too quickly, try to help me remember I can Like maybe just take the ring off and might make it easier. Let's see how Bippin and Blossom and Ganon are doing. Hang on. Okay, same, nothing new yet. The reason I'm checking is there's a lot of stuff that kind of changes pretty much anytime you beat a or not anytime you beat an essence, as we saw. They haven't changed, but after getting an essence is usually, if something's going to change, that's when it happens. Okay. So I believe, yep, this seems like a good stopping point. So next time, we'll be heading west out of town here, towards the western woods, and working to collect Essence 2. And probably an Essence or 2 more beyond that. So, anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. It's pretty exciting that we're getting to start a new Zelda game. And hopefully we'll be able to continue well next week and enjoy the time till then. Bye.